Bonjour, tous les matins, je lève à 6 heures. Take a look at this sentence. Do you know which little word goes in that blank? Is it me, te, or ce? And more importantly, do you know why? Well, before I tell you, why don't we find out together? Bonjour, je suis Stimoloa. J'ai appris le français au Nigeria sans immersion, sans environnement francophone. Et aujourd'hui, j'enseigne le français à plus de 400 étudiants dans plusieurs pays. Now, back to the text I showed you. The correct answer is tous les matins, je me lève à 6 heures. Je me lève à 6 heures. Every morning, I get up at 6 o'clock. You see, se lever is what we call a reflexive verb, les verbes pronominaux. A pronominal verb, a reflexive verb. These are verbs where the action reflects back on the subject. So you are doing something to yourself. I am doing something to myself. And because the subject and the object are the same person, we need a special little pronoun that changes depending on who is doing the action. I'm sure like, what are you saying, Sumo? Don't worry, breathe. I'll explain it to you, okay? Reflexive verbs are literally everywhere in the French language. You cannot describe your morning without them. Yet they trip up learners again and again, like which pronouns to use, where to put it, and the big one, how to handle them in the past tense. But don't worry, by the end of this video, all of that will feel natural. Today, you're going to master the French reflexive verb through a fun quiz format. And just like I always say, try not to ask why too much, like why is it like this, why is it that way? Just breathe, okay? Some of this is logic and some of this you just memorize as complete units. I have prepared 20 questions for you divided into two parts. The present tense will have 10 questions and the past tense will have 10 questions. For each question, I'll give you time to think and then explain the answer in detail with plenty of examples. But first, if you're brand new to reflexive verbs, let me give you the foundation so you're not just guessing. It will just take about 2 minutes and then the whole quiz will make sense. I mentioned that a reflexive verb is one where the action reflects back onto the subject. So basically, you're doing something to yourself. In English, we sometimes add myself, yourself, himself. But in French, we use a small pronoun placed before the verb, and that pronoun changes depending on who is doing the action. So to help you, here's a chart to memorize. You can actually pause the video right now and take a screenshot of the chart you're seeing on the left hand side. This is the heart of everything. So just take a look at the chart once again. You can see it. I want you to notice 3 things. It's very important. Number 1, the pronoun always comes right before the verb. So the order is what? The subject, the pronoun, and the verb. So for example, let's take a look at se laver, to wash up. Je is what? The subject. Me is the pronoun and the verb is lave. So that's je me lave. Tu te laves. Okay? The number 2 thing that I need you to notice is the pronoun always matches the subject. Think of it as a mirror of whoever is doing the action. And number 3, before a vowel or a silent H, the pronouns me, te, se shrink to become M apostrophe, T apostrophe, and S apostrophe. Which is why I'm sure you must have heard this before. Je m'appelle. We don't say je me appelle. It's just je m'appelle. Tu habilles, il s'amuse. But nous and vous never change. Okay? That is the whole foundation. If you understand this little chart, you already understand most of what reflexive verbs are about. Everything in the quiz simply builds on it. Vous êtes prêts? C'est parti! Question 1. Je lève à 7 heures. Is it A, B, or C? Take a moment to think. And so the answer is A. If you remember, I used this same example in the beginning of this video. So let me explain further why that is the answer. With je, which means I, the subject pronoun I, the reflexive pronoun is always me, okay? Je me lève à 7 heures. I get up at 7 o'clock. The pronoun must match the subject. So in case like, okay, so I don't even know what are reflexive verbs. What do you mean by reflexive verbs? Don't worry, okay? I'm going to show you the complete set of reflexive pronouns. And I would like for you to memorize them like the alphabet. So take a look at this. Je is for me. Tu goes to te. Il ou elle ou on goes to se. Nous is for nous. Vous is vous. Il, elle is ce. So take a look at the samples. Je me lève. Tu te lèves. Il se lève, or we can say elle se lève, or on se lève. Nous nous levons. Vous vous levez. Il se lève. Notice the pronoun always comes before a verb in a normal sentence. Wherever the subject goes, its matching pronoun follows right behind it. Okay? Question 2. Tu couches tard le week-end. Is it A, B, or C? Take some time to think there. If you chose B, then you're correct. Let me explain further. With tu, which is you informal, the reflexive pronoun is te. And so the sentence just says tu te couches tard, which means you go to bed late. And just like in question 1, the pronoun matches the subject. Se coucher means to go to bed. So let's practice with the full conjugation in the present tense. Je me couche, tu te couches, il ou elle ou on se couche, nous nous couchons, vous vous couchez, il ou elle se couche. Do you see the pattern? The verb endings are completely normal. It's just the little pronoun in front that makes it reflexive. Question 3. Il appelle Marc. Is the answer A, B, or C? Watch the spelling here. The answer is B. Il s'appelle Marc. S'appeler means to be called or to be named. So like I said, il s'appelle Marc simply means what? He is called Marc. He is Marc. Je m'appelle Sumulua. Elle s'appelle Jean. So it literally means like il s'appelle Marc is his name is Marc, or I could say he calls himself Marc. Because appelle begins with a vowel, se drops the E and becomes S. And this is what we call elision. Okay? I think I said it earlier on, but this happens with me, te, and se before a vowel or a silent H. So take a look at the sentences. Je m'appelle Sumulua. Tu t'appelles comment? Elle s'habille vite. On s'amuse bien. So don't forget, please, me becomes M apostrophe, te becomes T apostrophe, and se becomes just S apostrophe before a vowel. But nous and vous never change. Okay? Question 4. Nous levons très tôt. Is the answer A, B, or C? Be careful here. Who's the subject? The answer is C, nous. Remember I've told you this, with nous, the reflexive pronoun is also nous. Nous nous levons très tôt just simply means we get up very early. I know you're like, Sumo? But yes, we say nous twice. So it is nous nous levons très tôt, okay? The first nous is the subject. The second nous is the reflexive pronoun. This double word thing surprises a lot of learners. I mean, it surprised me when I said it. I was like, am I making a mistake? But you're not making a mistake. It's completely correct, okay? Just remember that. Let me show you some other samples. Nous nous reposons, nous nous dépêchons, nous nous promenons, nous nous préparons. Please do not be afraid of the repetition. It is exactly how French works. So embrace the double nous. Vous habillez rapidement. Is it A, B, or C? Once again, take a look at the subject. The answer is A. And so with vous, which is you in formal and plural, the reflexive pronoun is what? Vous. Vous vous habillez rapidement simply means you get dressed quickly. So just like nous, we say vous twice. And here's an important note. Even though habillé starts with a vowel, vous does not become V. You're like, oh my goodness, Sumo. Elision only happens with me and, you got it, se. Me, te, se. Not with vous, not with ne. Me, te, se. And so we always write, take a look at these sentences. Vous vous habillez, vous vous amusez, vous vous appelez comment? Remember, nous and vous stay whole no matter what comes after them. Question 6. What does the verb se réveiller mean? Is it A, B, or C? Take a look at the picture. The answer is B. It means to wake up. So se réveiller means to wake up, like the moment you actually open your eyes. Please don't confuse it with se lever. Se lever means to get up or actually get out of bed. So but first, what do? First, you wake up, se réveiller, and then you get up, se lever. So now I'm going to show you some of the most common reflexive verbs for your daily routine. Please try to learn these and ensure that you use them every single day. It's very helpful. Se réveiller, this is to wake up. Se lever, to get up. I'm hoping the pictures are helping you. Se laver, to wash up. Se brosser les dents, to brush your teeth. S'habiller, to get dressed. Se préparer, to get ready. Se coucher, to go to bed. So why don't you try describing your morning out loud right now? What do you say? Remember, you're the one. So you just say what? Je me réveille, je me lève, je me lave et je m'habille. Bravo. Question 7. Je habille avant le petit déjeuner. Is it A, B, or C? Remember, take a look at the spelling. I hope you chose B as the answer. And if you did, Remember, this combines two rules. With je, the pronoun is what? Me. But because habille begins with a silent H, what happens? The me becomes M apostrophe. And so instead of saying je me habille, doesn't even sound right. You simply say je m'habille avant le petit déjeuner, okay? Which means I get dressed before breakfast. I honestly believe in repetition. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how me behaves before vowels and silent H, okay? So let's take a look at these. Je m'appelle, je m'habille, je m'amuse, je m'intéresse à. The H in habille is silent. En français, on peut dire en H muet, which is literally why the French just treat it like a vowel. Question 8, and I really like this one. Je ne lève pas tôt le dimanche. Is it A, B, or C? I'm sure you're thinking, Sumo, how does negation work? The answer is A, ne. Even in the negative, the reflexive pronoun stays right in front of the verb. Je ne me lève pas tôt just simply means I do not get up early. The negation ne pas, it wraps around both the pronoun and the verb. So think of it like a sandwich. Ne, the me lève is the feeling. This is the first slice of bread. Me lève is the feeling, and then there's pas. So ne me lève pas. Does that make you hungry? Or do you actually understand what I'm saying? Let me show you some more sample sentences. So please take a look at the structure properly. Je ne me couche pas tard. Tu ne te réveilles pas tôt. Elle ne se repose pas assez. Nous ne nous dépêchons pas. So do you see? The pronoun and the verb travel together as a unit. And ne pas, it just goes around the whole thing. Please, please never separate the pronoun from its verb. Question 9. Je vais coucher tôt ce soir. Is it A, B, or C? Take a look at this one properly. The answer is A, me. When a reflexive verb stays in the infinitive, after verbs like aller, vouloir, pouvoir, devoir, the reflexive pronoun still matches the subject and it sits right in front of the infinitive. So it becomes what? Je vais me coucher, which just means I'm going to go to bed. This is honestly super common with the near future, like so le futur proche, and also with modal verbs. If you're wondering what is meant by modal verbs, I have a complete video on modal verbs. You can click this link above here to go watch it after this. It's very, very helpful, okay? Let me show you some more examples so you understand what I mean, okay? Je vais me reposer. Tu veux te promener? Elle doit se préparer. Nous allons nous amuser. Vous pouvez vous asseoir. Pro tip, even when the verb is an infinitive, the pronoun never goes to se by default. It always matches who is doing the action. Question 10. Je souviens mon premier voyage en France. Oh, this is interesting. Is it A, B, or C? There are two blanks. Remember, there's pronoun and preposition. The answer is A. Se souvenir de means to remember, like je me souviens. I'll explain further. It is a reflexive verb that always needs the preposition de before its object. Je me souviens de mon premier voyage means I remember my first trip. Please, please don't ever forget the de. It's part of the verb. Several reflexive verbs come attached to a specific preposition. So what I would advise is just memorize them as complete units. Don't break them, just memorize them. Let me show you some samples of what I mean. Se souvenir de. And this can become je me souviens de toi, okay? S'occuper de. And you can say, elle s'occupe de ses enfants. Se moquer de. You can say, ne te moque pas de moi. S'intéresser à. You can say, je m'intéresse à l'art. And lastly, s'habituer à. Nous nous habituons à la ville. Just like with some regular verbs, the preposition isn't logical. You learn the verb and its preposition together. So, great job completing the present tense. You're doing excellently well. If any of those felt shaky, that's completely normal. You can feel free to pause and rewatch a section before continuing. Now let's tackle the part that scared me, and I don't know if it scares you, but it scared me so much, using reflexive verbs in the past tense. Before we dive into the questions, let me show you exactly how reflexive verbs work in the past. Once you understand this foundation, the next questions will feel easy. There are two golden rules. Rule 1, reflexive verbs always use être, never avoir, okay? This is the single most important thing to remember. If you don't remember anything else in this video, just remember it, okay? This is the single most important thing to remember. Every reflexive verb, with no exception, takes être as its helping verb in the past tense. Rule Pour tout, the past participle agrees with the subject. That is in gender and number, just like an adjective. What does this mean? You add E for feminine, you add S for plural, and ES for feminine plural. And the word order is always the same. The subject, the reflexive pronoun, être, and past participle. If you're a visual learner like I am, take a look at this chart that I'm showing you with se lever. I want you to look at it in the past tense. I want you to now read a few out loud. Do you see what I mean by the subject first, the pronoun être, and the past participle? So the subject is what? Je. And the pronoun in être is me suis. The past participle is lever. Okay? So just remember how we have je suis. If you're saying it in present sense, je suis. That's the same thing. Just remember to put me in front of it. Did you get like je suis but put me? So it becomes je me suis levé. Elle s'est levée. Ils se sont levés. Notice that the pronoun comes first, then a form of être, then the participle with its agreement ending. There is one sneaky exception to the agreement rule, but I'll save that surprise for later in the quiz. For now, just lock in these two golden rules. Vous êtes prêts? Let's continue. Question 11. Hier, je lève à 8 heures. Is the answer A, B, or C? Remember your auxiliary verbs. The answer is C, me suis. Now, let me explain why. Remember what I said earlier on? This is the most important rule of this entire section. So please pay close attention. In the passé composé, all reflexive verbs use être as their auxiliary, never avoir. And the reflexive pronoun comes before the auxiliary. So we say, je me suis levé. I got up. Here's the formula once again. I'm going to put it across the screen, okay? Subject plus reflexive pronoun plus être in le présent, in the present tense, okay? Plus past participle. So let's take a look at se lever in the passé composé. I'm going to try and break this down for you. Take a look at this. The subject is what? Je. The reflexive pronoun is me. Être in present tense, and I know you should know être by now if you're watching this video, is what? Suis. And the past participle is levé. So let's take a look again. Je me suis levé. Tu te levé. Il s'est levé. Nous nous sommes levés. Vous vous êtes levé. Ils se sont levés. Please just remember this no matter what. You just always tell yourself. Someone always said reflexive verb is what? Reflexive verb equals to être in the past tense. No exceptions. Once you think of how do I conjugate the reflexive verb into the past, just use être. The next question. Elle s'est ce matin. Is it A, B, or C? Take a look at this carefully. The answer is B. Because reflexive verbs use être, like I've been saying over and over again, the past participle usually agrees with the subject in gender and number, just like with other être verbs. The subject elle is feminine singular, and so we add an extra E. Elle s'est réveillée ce matin. And what does this mean? She woke up. So here's how the agreement works. Let me help you even further. For masculine singular, it's il s'est réveillé. There is no change to the spelling, okay? For feminine singular, elle s'est réveillée. Same pronunciation, but when you're writing, you have to add an extra E. For masculine plural, ils se sont réveillés. You add an S. But for feminine plural, elles se sont réveillées. You add an ES. This is exactly like adjective agreement. If the subject is a woman, add E. If it is plural, you add S. If it is feminine plural, you add an ES. Hold on to this rule because at the end of this quiz, I'll show you the surprising exception. The next one, nous promener dans le parc. Is this A, B, or C? Pay attention, this is past tense and plural. The answer is B. Remember what I said again, reflexive verbs take être and the pronoun goes first. And so this becomes what? Nous sommes promenés dans le parc, which just means we went for a walk. Please remember, you write nous twice, the subject pronoun and the reflexive pronoun. Then sommes, which is être, and then the participle agreeing with the plural subject. If you're like, Sumo, you've lost me, let's break the structure down piece by piece, okay? Take a look at this. Just take a look at this one. Nous sommes promenés. Nous is the subject. The other nous is a reflexive pronoun. Sommes is être in the present tense. And promener is the participle plus agreement. What I mean by agreement, it is plural. So we have to add the S. Let's take a look at more plural examples. Nous nous sommes reposés. Ils se sont dépêchés. Elles se sont amusées. Vous vous êtes préparés. The double pronoun, I know it does feel strange at first, but it's 100% correct in the past tense too. And now the next question. Just take a look at this pronoun placement. Which sentence is correct? Is it A, B, or C? Please remember to think about your word order. The answer is B. Two things make option B correct. The first is it uses être, not avoir, and the reflexive pronoun me comes before the auxiliary. Je me suis couché tard means I went to bed late. Options A and C put the pronoun in the wrong place, and A just uses the wrong auxiliary entirely, okay? Remember, the order is always what? I think by now if you repeat after me, is always the subject plus reflexive pronoun plus être plus past participle, okay? So here are some common mistakes to avoid. J'ai me levé. That's very wrong. It is always je me suis levé. Je suis me lavé. Wrong again. It is always je me suis lavé. You cannot say elle est se reposer. It is elle s'est reposée, okay? The pronoun glues itself to the front right after the subject. Nothing, nothing, nothing comes between the subject and its reflexive pronoun. The next one, elle ne sait pas ce matin. Is it A, B, or C? Take a look at this properly. The answer, if you chose A, this one tests two rules at once. First, negation in the passé composé. Remember, ne pas wraps around the pronoun plus auxiliary, ne sais pas. And then the second, the agreement. The subject, elle, is feminine, and so the participle gets an extra E, maquiller. And so the full sentence will be what? Elle ne s'est pas maquillée ce matin. She didn't put on makeup this morning. Just in case you're still a bit confused, why don't you take a look at these sentences so you can just watch where ne pas goes in the past tense, okay? Je ne me suis pas levé. Tu ne t'es pas reposé. Nous ne nous sommes pas dépêchés. So, ne goes before the pronoun and pas goes after the auxiliary, which is what? You got it, être. The participle still agrees with the subject as normal. The next one, Paul et Marie rencontrés à Paris. Is it A, B, or C? The answer is B. So let me explain why. Some reflexive verbs are actually reciprocal, and this just means the action happens between two or more people, like to each other. So rencontrer here means to meet each other. Paul et Marie se sont rencontrés à Paris just means Paul and Marie met each other in Paris. It still uses être, and the participle agrees with the plural subject. Reciprocal verbs are very common because they're really used to describe relationships and interactions. Let's take a look at some samples. Se rencontrer. You can say ils se sont rencontrés. Se voir, nous nous sommes vus. S'aimer, ils se sont aimés. Se disputer, elles se sont disputées. Se marier, ils se sont mariés. The trick is, ask yourself, are they doing this to each other? Like I'm pointing because I'm like writing to people. Are they doing this to each other? If yes, it's reciprocal. But the grammar, être plus the agreement, it works just the same way. Okay? The next one, dépêche. Nous sommes en retard. Is it A, B, or C? This one is slightly tricky. The answer is A. In an affirmative command, which is the imperative, the reflexive pronoun moves to after the verb and connects with a hyphen, and more importantly, te becomes toi. Oh! You know, even me saying this, I'm like, Sumo, how did you learn this? But anyways, te becomes toi. And so, dépêche-toi means hurry up. This is a change that really only happens in positive commands. Let me show you more samples. Take a look at these patterns for affirmative commands. Maybe this would also help you. Lève-toi, réveille-toi, repose-toi, asseyez-vous, dépêchons-nous. And so in positive commands, we have the verb plus hyphen plus pronoun and te, which becomes toi. Okay, you can't say dépêche-te, it's dépêche-toi. In the next question, watch what happens when the command is negative. It's different. Ne inquiète pas. Tout va bien. Is it A, B, or C? Take a look properly. The answer is B. In a negative command, the rules flip back, okay? The reflexive pronoun returns to its normal place, which is where? Before the verb. And it stays as te, not toi. Now listen closely here. Because inquiète starts with a vowel, te goes back to T apostrophe. And so what do we have? Ne t'inquiète pas. You can't say ne te inquiète. Doesn't make sense. So it's basically ne t'inquiète pas, which means don't worry. Let me help you for that. I want you to compare the affirmative versus the negative commands side by side, okay? Take a look at this. Dépêche-toi, that's the affirmative, but negative becomes what? Ne te dépêche pas. So hurry up or don't hurry. Do you see? Another one, lève-toi, but the negative is what? Ne te lève pas. So it's either get up or don't get up. Do you see? And the last one, inquiète-toi, the negation is ne t'inquiète pas. So the affirmative is worry, and the negative is what? Don't worry. The rule in one line is this. Positive command is equals to pronoun after the verb, te becomes toi, and negative command is equals to pronoun before the verb, which means it stays at te. This catches almost everyone. I know it caught me, so please just practice, okay? The next one, elle sait le main avant de manger? Is it A, B, or C? Be careful about this. It's an object after the verb. The answer is B. Here is a famous exception that I promised you. When a reflexive verb is followed by a direct object, and here I just mean les mains, the past participle does not agree with the subject. Elle s'est lavé les mains means she washed her hands. The participle stays in its basic masculine form, laver. I wonder, okay, why sumo? This is because in the sentence, ce is no longer the direct object, les mains is, okay? So she washed her hand, like she washed the hands to herself. Man, I'm trying to translate it for you just so that it's clear. Okay, let me explain further. The agreement rule is this. The participle agrees with the preceding direct object. And here, the direct object, les mains, comes after the verb, so there's no agreement. Compare these two crucial sentences. Take a look at these. Elle s'est lavée. This is what? She washed herself. So is the direct object agreement. She's washing herself. But take a look at this. Elle s'est lavé les mains. She washed her hands. Les mains is a direct object. So which means there's no agreement. You're like, so, but the hands is on her body. Yes, but she's washing her hands. It's different. This is honestly number one advanced reflexive chapter. I know how many mistakes I made. But I won't say just master it, but honestly, it's start with understanding the basics and just take it up from there. If you make a mistake, it's fine. The natives will understand what you're saying, okay? But then, of course, correct yourself so you don't keep making the same mistake. The next one, ne fais pas. Tu finiras par s'arranger. Is it A, B, or C? Our final question, which is a beautiful idiom. The answer is B. What an amazing way to end this quiz. S'en faire is an idiomatic reflexive verb, which just means like to worry. And so ne t'en fais pas just means don't worry. And literally, if you want to break it down, it just means like don't make any of it for yourself. It's honestly warm and it's used every day in French language because I know I've heard it not once, not twice. I've heard it a couple of times. You even hear it in movies as well.
Ne t'en fais pas, ils sont partis contents. T'en fais pas, ça va s'arranger.
Je contrôle, ne t'en fais pas.
Please notice the structure in this negative command. Ne plus ton. So the reflexive pronoun te and the end, you see what happens there? I want you to take a look at this and notice the structure in this negative command. Ne plus ton. That means the reflexive pronoun te is elided plus un. And then we have the fait and pas. So the un is part of the expression and it cannot be removed. Please, you need to remember that part, okay? It cannot be removed. So let me just leave you with some lovely reassuring expressions, okay? For example, we have ne t'en fais pas, which is what? Don't worry. In the formal way, if you want to say it's in the formal version of maybe a group of people, ne vous en faites pas, okay? Or ne t'inquiète pas. We've seen that before, but tout va bien se passer. And honestly, ne t'en fais pas is exactly my message to you about reflexive verbs. French reflexive verbs look extremely intimidating, but with practice, they become second nature. Félicitations! Congratulations! You've completed all 20 questions of this French reflexive verbs quiz. You've gone from basic reflexive pronouns to testing out your daily routine, all the way through past tense, commands, even the surprise agreement exception that I told you about, right? Now, before I sign up, I have one more thing for you. Let me know in the comment section, how many did you get out of 20? Did you get 10, 15, 20, 20? Or were you just in the beginning, maybe just getting 5? If you would like to go even deeper, you can check out my video here on 50 reflexive verbs. I break them down in much more detail and introduce to you many more verbs that you will use all the time. It's the perfect next verb after this quiz, so go check it out. Remember the big ideas. The reflexive pronoun always matches the subject, which is what? Me, te, ce, ne, vous, ce. In the past tense, please remember, reflexive verbs always use être. The participle agrees with the subject unless a direct object follows a verb. In commands, the pronoun moves after the verb but jumps back before the verb when it's in the negative. Please don't try to translate reflexive verb word for word from English. Instead, just try, I would say, to learn them as natural French patterns, practice them out loud with your own routine, and very soon they'll feel effortless. Keep practicing as always, and don't be afraid to watch this video again if you're ever unsure. Repetition is exactly how these patterns sink in. And remember to check out my next video where I break down reflexive verbs in even more detail. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in that lesson. Bonne journée!